Hello and welcome to the Argyle SMB Finance Leadership Forum. My name is Brittany Sullivan with Argyle, and it's great to have everyone joining us today. A couple of notes before I turn things over to our esteemed speaker. First, a quick reminder to stop by our sponsors' virtual booths at any time during today's event and for the following week. Our partners are committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience. At any time during today's event, you can visit their virtual booths from the main agenda page. To ask questions throughout the session, simply type into the Q&A chat and we will address your questions at the end of the session. Also be sure to subscribe to Argyle on YouTube for exclusive access to our past events. Now, without further delay, I would love to introduce our speaker, Dmitry Babayev, Senior Manager of Global Product Marketing at SAP Concur. We are excited to have Dmitry with us for a thought leadership titled Solving the ROI Puzzle, Calculating AI's Impact on Spend Management. Welcome, Dmitry, and over to you.
Hi, thank you. And hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. As Brittany mentioned, my name is Dmitry Babayev. And maybe just to start off on a little bit of background about myself, I've been with SAP Concur since 2015 and have had the pleasure of holding several roles here across product management and now more recently in product marketing. Throughout my time, I've mostly focused on our audit and compliance portfolio, as well as the exciting new frontier of artificial intelligence. And during my time here at SAP Concur, I've had the privilege of contributing to innovative solutions that have helped transform the way businesses manage their spend. And so today, I'm thrilled to walk you through how AI can make a significant impact to spend management and help organizations optimize their return on investment. So thank you again for joining me, and I'm excited to delve into this fascinating topic with you all. So before getting into more details, let's take a moment to just outline today's agenda. We'll begin first by discussing why spend management matters and how it's a critical component for businesses looking to optimize their finances and drive efficiency. Next, we'll explore the world of artificial intelligence, really what it is, why it's transforming industries, and how it specifically impacts spend management. From there, we'll then tackle the topic of ROI measurement, and we'll discuss how calculating AI's impact involves a blend of really art and science. I'll share some strategies for effectively analyzing these metrics. Following that, we'll delve into the steps and considerations for adopting AI within your organizations to enhance spend management processes. And finally, I'll just wrap it up with some key takeaways and maybe address some frequently asked questions if we have time. I know that sounds like a lot, but I promise I'll try to make this insightful. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's first consider why spend management is such a key concern for many organizations. Organizations have many and varying strategic initiatives, and these initiatives naturally compete for time and prioritization. So when we discuss spend management and effective spend management policies, what our customers are generally focused on is really ensuring several key business outcomes. For one, organizations are looking to run lean and increase productivity across their business, really do more with less. Implementing effective tools and clear policies allows for time back in many areas, especially for finance and accounting teams. Of course, we care about people, whether it's attracting new talent or retaining top talent. Those are keys to success, and really providing employees with clear and relevant policies enhances the employee experience. And frankly, employees expect clear guidance from their workplace. In this ever-changing market, adaptability, flexibility, and planning ahead are must-have ingredients to both current and future business success. Organizations are looking to, of course, contain costs and optimize their dollars, right? Make their dollar go further. So avoiding risks is top of mind for many of our customers, and creating spend management policies that align supports really achieving on their mission. And lastly, having visibility into spend allows for both real-time information and access to more data that helps inform any needed adjustments. And it gives really a complete picture to finance organizations so they can make effective decisions on time and quickly. And so for years, companies have been really moving into this digitized world of spend management, but some are still looking for ways to kind of work towards more automation that could help them see more efficiencies. Um, so let's take a look at what some finance leaders have been saying. Finance leaders who harness automation are feeling more prepared for the unexpected and creating opportunities to advance their own careers along the way. According to a CFO Insight survey conducted by SAP Concur, nearly 62% of CFOs see AI as an essential tool in managing the unexpected. And part of the improvement in managing the unexpected also likely aligns with improvements in forecasting that were found as a top priority for 55% of CFOs. On an individual level, SAP Concur and Oxford Economics together found that finance leaders who have adopted advanced AI and automation are more likely to say that their role has grown more important in setting overall company strategy. So how are finance leaders taking advantage of this technology to get such gains? Well, again, according to that survey, the CFO Insight survey we conducted, business application of AI that CFOs feel is really most likely to materialize for their finance teams includes a wide variety of things. And I'm not going to go through the whole list, but everything from better forecasting to automating mundane and repetitive tasks, and overall just better data and insights really leads to ultimately better outcomes for finance professionals. But why don't we take a quick step back and just make sure we're all on the same page when we're talking about AI. Now, of course, the topic of AI is huge, right? We could easily spend this entire session just on that topic alone. So I thought, what better way to boil down such a complex topic into a sentence or two than to ask ChatGPT exactly what is AI? So let's see what it had to say. Artificial intelligence is a field of computer science that enables machines to perform tasks requiring human intelligence, such as language comprehension, pattern recognition, decision making, and learning from data. And this definition really captures the essence of AI, its ability to emulate human cognitive processes through computer systems. But let's talk about how ChatGPT is able to come up with such responses. And the first thing that I think is important to understand is that although it often seems like AI is talked about as this like monolithic system, some sort of singular entity, and I'm sure having imagery like this robot on the screen here doesn't help to that. In reality, though, AI is actually an umbrella term that is used to define a collection of components and techniques that make computer systems appear intelligent. And depending on what you need the AI system to do, it may require one or more of these components. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but just to highlight a few, we have systems like computer vision, which is really an evolution off of past OCR technology that takes us from not only being able to recognize text off of printed text, but really taking computer systems into the ability to recognize images such as logos on receipts or even facial recognitions, like when you unlock your phone. There's also natural language processing, which is the ability for computers to understand world languages without having to rely on translation software. Natural language processing is exactly the reason why I could have typed in the same prompt into ChatGPT, but in German or Spanish or virtually any other language, and received a very similar response. And the last one I want to highlight is machine learning, which is really at the core of artificial intelligence and its ability to mimic human intelligence. And it does so by using algorithms and statistical models, essentially to make predictions or decisions. For example, consider asking ChatGPT or any AI chatbot what the probability is of flipping a coin and having it land on heads. Well, if all the data that AI system has is from one coin flip that happened to land on heads, it might respond and let you know that 100% of the time you flip a coin, it'll land on heads. Of course, that's not true. And when you have data from 1,000 coin flips or 1,000,000 coin flips, that distribution gets closer to 50-50. And as such, the AI system is able to provide a more accurate response. And that's really at the core of how ChatGPT and other large language models and AI systems work. There are thousands, if not millions, of websites out there and publications that describe AI. And so, what the AI system then can do is scan the internet essentially, gather all that information, find statistical significant patterns and commonalities across that data, and as such, then provide an accurate response. And so, bottom line, the more data you have, the more accurate the AI system. And although AI has been a hot topic as of late, and certainly many components of AI have been created more recently, AI as a field of computer science has been around since the 1950s, with early applications including strategy games like chess and checkers. And the reason why, I'm not sure if there's any big chess fans here in the audience, but for more than a century, from every single major chess competition, every move from every single game has been recorded. And there's just countless data on all of those chess moves and chess games. And so when that, back in the 1950s was fed into a computer system, what appeared as intelligence was actually, again, just relying on statistics and data to come up with a response. And so when I move a pawn maybe from one square to another, say 95% of the time across the millions of other chess games that were played, the opponent responds back by moving their queen from one end of the board to the next. And so the AI system is able to recognize that statistical significance, make the same move, and appear as though it's being intelligent when playing chess versus a human. Now, as we progress along this timeline, and businesses have been using AI since the 90s. So again, still nothing new in the world of business, right? Credit card networks have been using AI to help spot anomalies and fraudulent transactions for the better part of 30 years now. But where we are today is that with both advances in computational power and seemingly access to endless terabytes of data, has fueled the rapid progress of AI capabilities and has taken us into more of a generative AI, which is a term that I'm sure you've been hearing as of late, but ultimately relies on very similar processes as the same AI systems that were built back in the 50s. So really kind of to recap some of the strengths of AI. First, foremost, it's the ability to process and analyze massive amounts of data to find patterns, find anomalies, which is key in things like fraud detection. AI can help eliminate the need for a person to have to look through every single expense report, for example, when it can do that analysis initially and serve that up on a platter for humans to then evaluate afterward. There's also the automation of repetitive tasks, right? Whether it's AI in your smart home systems that adjust the temperature in your house whenever you're home or not home accordingly, or in spend management to be able to help out with things like expense report creation. AI can, again, find patterns in past data, make inferences that automate those repetitive tasks. There's also the ability to personalize recommendations for users. You probably see this every day in like movie streaming or music streaming platforms that seem to just know what it is that you would enjoy to watch or listen to next. And the way that it does that is, again, by looking at past data and making inferences based on that. And the final strength to highlight here is really the continuous and fast learning ability of AI, along with high accuracy as those systems get more data and more training over time. All right, so when we think about what this automation might look like in action, it could be helpful to look at a case study. So here's a look at how automation can help finance leaders in travel and expense. What I have here is a timeline of a typical journey from of spend happening, right, from an employee first shopping through ultimately submitting their expense report, and that expense report then getting reconciled in accounting systems. There's AI that we've been sprinkling along the way in Concur that has helped employees do everything from estimating their trips for more effective budget planning, all the way through making sure that any sort of finances that are hitting the books are tax compliant, helping companies avoid any sort of regulatory issues or penalties that might come up with it. and in many cases too, helping companies maximize their bottom line with tax reclaim and getting more money back in their pockets. All right, so next, let's talk about, let's get into the topic of ROI measurement. So first here, I have a simple ROI formula. I'm sure if you've taken, a high school finance class or a 101 level college class, you would have seen something like this before. So let's first break down the cost portion of the equation here. And when we talk about costs with AI, I like to think of costs essentially in two different buckets. With the first one, there's the cost of building and training your own AI systems. And there are direct costs and indirect costs to consider here, with direct costs being development expenses, hiring specialized talent, there's time that's needed as well as indirect costs that come with maintaining and ongoing maintenance of the system, as well as considering any sort of risks or challenges with implementing the systems along the way. But the advantages that come with building your own AI systems is, for one, really the customizability that you get. Really, a tailored solution that fits exactly to your business needs is hard to beat, right? And the use case for this is in healthcare industries, for instance, healthcare providers who require maybe highly specialized predictive models to improve rehabilitation plans. Existing off-the-shelf solutions may not be tailored specifically to accommodate that industry or that complexity. So companies in that industry might be looking to do something by themselves. The other bucket, though, is, of course, purchasing an out-of-the-box solution. Now, when we think about both direct and indirect costs there, first direct costs include things like subscription fees, integration expenses that would take to integrate that into your systems. With indirect costs, there's some limited customizability that is available with out-of-the-box systems, which means that sometimes you might have to adjust your processes to fit the solution rather than the solution being exactly tailored to fit within your processes. The advantage, though, of using an out-of-the-box solution, though, is faster implementation. You have proven technology supported by a vendor that has expertise in it. And so companies are typically able to get off the ground and running with AI in a matter of weeks, as opposed to months or even years when it comes to building your own. And really the use case for using an out-of-the-box solution is for companies that are looking to address immediate concerns. And of course, you may not have the expertise to go out and build systems by themselves. All right, so let's talk about the other piece of that formula, and that's measuring the benefits. AI's most significant contribution lies in its ability to free up professionals to engage in more strategic work elsewhere. This shift can yield numerous long-term advantages, including fostering innovation and boosting employee engagement, benefits that are inherently hard to quantify, but essential to maximizing the potential gains. And so to capture the full spectrum of AI's influence, it's vital to conduct a holistic ROI benefit analysis that encompasses both tangible and intangible results. So let's talk about some of these tangible benefits first. These include measurable elements such as hours saved on manual tasks. It's the reduction of errors that could lead to both improved accuracy, stop you from doing rework or causing any other problems that might come along down the line. And then with enhanced fraud detection capabilities as well, all contributing to clear financial savings and process improvements within organizations. There's also intangible benefits to consider, though, right? Because overall, there's, I think, an impact to organizational health, right? Such as increased employee satisfaction and engagement, driving innovation and creativity, and enhancing just brand reputation through demonstrating commitment to cutting edge technology. And so by understanding and integrating both the tangible and intangible results, businesses can develop a comprehensive evaluation framework that not only demonstrates the immediate ROI, but also highlights the strategic benefits that contribute to long-term growth and competitiveness within your businesses. So to recap, measuring the effectiveness of adopting AI in your organizations involves more than simply crunching numbers. It requires a thoughtful approach that considers AI's broader impact on your organization. Traditional ROI calculators or calculations often focus solely on monetary metrics. However, in assessing AI's value, it's beneficial to adopt a conceptual framework that encompasses the intangible elements as well, offering a more comprehensive view of AI's influence on your business. And really, in adopting such viewpoints, your ROI analysis will reflect a more nuanced appreciation of AI's transformative potential. And ultimately, these insights can guide informed decision making and as well as strategic alignment, ensuring that AI investment meaningfully contributes to your organization's advancements. Right, and as we pivot here now to our final topic of the day, I want to talk about how you can adopt AI within your organizations. In the realm of travel and expense management, organizations often grapple with what appears to be a dichotomy. The need to strictly adhere to policies and regulations versus maintaining operational efficiency and a positive user experience. And many find themselves striving to balance these priorities, which with each decision essentially tipping the scales towards one way or another. If companies focus on compliance, they may put strict policies in place and workflows that make it more difficult and more time-consuming on their users. On the other hand, companies that focus on the employee experience and trying to make things as easy and efficient as possible for their users, what they often see is that it means having to sacrifice compliance. However, AI really removed the trade-off that organizations historically have had to make between efficiency and compliance in their travel and expense processes. As a user, they typically want to spend as little time as possible on booking travel or submitting expense reports. They want to be reimbursed quickly, which means everything needs to be accurate and within policy. They also want to make sure that they're maintaining control over their preferences with things like making sure that they're flying on their preferred airline carrier or staying with their preferred hotel brand. And the outcome with AI is really a personalized booking experience, for one, that allows flexibility, but also guides them through making policy compliant decisions, as well as AI that can help with compiling and ultimately submitting that expense report along the way of their journey. A manager or a finance leader, though, is typically concerned with controlling spend. They also often don't have the resources to necessarily audit every single expense report. So they need more efficient processes to ensure that employees are making policy and regulatory compliant decisions along their spend journey. So let me show you where SAP Concur is using AI to create such better outcomes to address both of these concerns. So looking back at this timeline that I previously shared here, here's a more comprehensive look at where Concur has been injecting AI into our solutions. And the biggest piece of advice that I have for addressing and really getting some quick wins out of artificial intelligence is to address the low-hanging fruit, right? Automating repetitive tasks, finding where you have maybe some immediate process gaps or leaks, and injecting artificial intelligence there to help address it. I'll share a quick story. We have a customer, Chobani, and I welcome you to go to concur.com and listen to their full story. We have a video there for you to view. But in essence, they were struggling in the area of auditing expense reports. They essentially had one person who was responsible for reviewing every expense report before it hits the books, and they were not able to keep up. So what they instead did was used one of our AI auditing solutions to help them see immediate returns. What this means is that their finance team, the one person on their finance team, instead of having to go through every single expense report and look for that needle in a haystack, we were able to use AI to clear out all that hay for them and focus them exactly on where the issues lie. They also mentioned that their employees, knowing that there's AI checking everything behind the scenes, naturally started following rules a little bit better, knowing that they wouldn't be able to get by or slip something through the cracks as easily as they were before. So as we conclude our discussion today, I would like to highlight how SAP Concur empowers organizations to streamline and optimize their spend management processes. SAP Concur offers comprehensive cloud-based solutions designed to enhance various aspects of travel and spend management through our core services. And these services are seamlessly integrated, providing businesses with a unified source of spend data and allowing for effective management and oversight. A question I often hear from our customers is, what is SAP Concur doing with AI, and how are we going to use the latest advancements to improve business outcomes, and how is that just going to show up in our processes? So first and foremost, Concur is not new to leveraging AI. We already have delivered solutions that have helped our customers balance being more efficient and improving their user experience while also achieving better compliance with spend policies. We have more than a decade of experience using and creating AI and machine learning models for solutions that some of you might have heard of or might be using yourselves already today. At SAP Concur, we also process more than 22 million expense reports and travel bookings every month. And as we've seen, the larger the data set to train the AI models, the more accurate the results. Now, 22 million expense reports, if we consider that there's about 5 or so on average expense entries per expense report, we're talking about more than 100,000 individual expenses every month. 100 million expenses every month, and more than 1 billion expenses every year. That's a huge data set for us to build off of and create a more relevant and personalized experience. And also to highlight really our commitment to the ethical use of AI. As with all of our solutions, SAP Concur maintains the highest standard for privacy and data security. SAP does not share your data with any third-party LLMs for training purposes. Your data remains safeguarded within the Concur system. And here's just also a brief highlight of some of the tangible benefits that SAP Concur brings to our customers. Through leveraging advanced AI and integrated spend management solutions, our customers are experiencing significant improvements across various key areas, like reducing both the cost and time it takes to book trips, streamlining expense reports, and significantly improving the time that it takes to pay vendors. So as we wrap up today's session on solving the ROI puzzle, let's recap just some key insights and takeaways. AI is transforming spend management. We've seen how artificial intelligence can revolutionize the way that organizations handle spend management, offering improvements in efficiency, compliance, and user experience. And we've also explored methodologies and frameworks to measure the tangible and also consider the intangible benefits of AI investments, ensuring comprehensive evaluation that supports strategic decision-making. So in this rapidly changing world where everything from rules and regulations to markets and business models are constantly in flux, you need tools and technologies that are prepared for anything. And it's imperative to adopt metrics that match current projections, priorities, policies, and pave the way for future adaptability. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for joining me today. I'm excited to continue supporting your journey in enhancing your spend management and ROI realization. And back over to you, Brittany.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Dimitri, for incredible thought leadership. I also want to thank everyone else for joining us today. This session, along with all of today's content, will be made available on demand following the event. Our next session will begin after our break at 12:20 Eastern, which will be a panel discussion titled Empowering Growth, Adopting Cost-Effective Technologies. Please click the join button that will appear on your screen to be redirected, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you again, Dimitri.